My name is Rahul Sharma. I've been in the corporate America for 20 years, transforming people, transforming leaders, and ensuring that people who wants to move to the next level, they take steady steps. It's all about taking steps. We all may be great individuals, but if we have to the next level, we have to work as one team. Before we get started, a quick note. The opinions expressed here are my own and those of my guest. This conversation is intended for informational and educational purposes only. Always seek expert guidance for your unique situation. And I'm also pleased to inform you that NESDA Global is a proud sponsor for this season's podcast. Thank you, NESDA.
Ever wondered what it's like to have an offshore team working for you right here in the Philippines?
I work with a Canadian client. NESDA provides me everything from workstation, a stable internet, and HR support, and a team that feels like family.
Working with NESDA's workforce outsourcing team is fast-paced, exciting, at times challenging, but that's exactly what makes it rewarding. It's an opportunity to collaborate with people from diverse culture, gain new knowledge and skills, and be part of a team that supports clients across the globe. We are NESDA Workforce Outsourcing.
Thinking of expanding your global team? Email us at contactus@nesdaglobal.com.
Hello and welcome to another episode of The Climb, the Confident Leader podcast, where we share stories of leaders moving from invisible to becoming an influencer. I'm your host, Rahul Karan Sharma, and today I have an amazing guest who has never been on our podcast, as well as the industry that he's coming from. He's the first in the business for us. He's a multifaceted entrepreneur, renowned for his innovative approach to business and commitment to enhancing the entrepreneurial landscape. He was a driving force behind Dirty Dog Cookies, a fast-growing national cookie brand with over 75 stores. He's a sought-after speaker who regularly shares insight with the media. Bennett also hosts the Deeper Than Dog podcast, launched in 2023, where he explores finding joy and fulfillment in life through entrepreneurship and beyond. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome founder of FranchiseKi and Bennett Maxwell to our show. Welcome to our show, Bennett. How are you doing today?
I'm doing really well. Thank you for having me. Excited to be here.
Absolutely. Bennett, your journey is very inspiring from where you have been and where you are today. Can you enlighten our audience with what all has gone through your leadership journey in particular?
Yes, leadership side. Yeah, I guess professionally, I started doing door-to-door sales. I dropped out of college to do that. Went really well, and I'm like, I like this, have a knack for it. I started a solar company in 2020, and that's kind of when I started my entrepreneur career. I was lucky. I partnered with my brother. He's 13 years older than me, and he's been in business, a lot longer than I have. So I had a really good business partner to learn leadership from, not only like the leadership skills, but also what I really liked what we did on the solar company is we tried right at the beginning, like, how do we build this company so we don't have to be in it, right? So then you're developing leaders and how you lead leaders. That was pretty quick in the sense of it was only 18 months by the time I exited. I purchased Dirty Dough when it was just a single store in Tempe, Arizona, with the idea of franchising it. And it blew up. We sold 450 franchises, opened up about 100 units. We had to close some units as well. But it went really fast. And in all of that, you're like, how did it grow fast? Most of it was, I think, because I brought on good leaders surrounding me. I brought on a really good CEO right at the beginning. That's been an industry vet for 40 years. She built Maui Wowie Smoothies and Coffee. It's another brand. So yeah, I guess there's a little bit into leadership on a little bit of what I've learned. And man, I feel like what I am learning is just how much I need to learn more.
Sure. Learning is something that happens on a daily basis. I always believe that when learning stops, everything stops. So yes, we need to continuously learn. So you mentioned that you started or you supported your brother business, and I'm sure you never went to a school for leadership. You never went to school at back then for learning how to do a solar business. So there would be moments, in my opinion, where you were having some self-doubt. You were having some mode of invisibility. I would want to know what kind of mindset shift, Bennett, you had to go through to move away from that self-doubt mode to becoming more confident.
Yeah, I mean that's a great topic that came about, I guess, a lot sooner than solar. When you're knocking doors as a career, it's all about, that the confidence and then the self-doubt, like, oh crap, I lost my sales ability.
Mhm.
And kind of all of that, jazz. But okay, so with solar, I I mentioned I dropped out of college. I had a semester left to graduating with a bachelor's, pre-med, and that was the goal, continue, go on, be a pediatrician. But when I dropped out, it wasn't because I didn't value education. I just didn't want it in that form. But when I did, I made a commitment to myself. I'm like, I'm going to still use the same amount of time, energy, money that I was going to commit to train myself to be the best doctor, and I'm going to do that to be the best. At the time, it was salesperson, right? And then it became communicator. And I think communicator kind of goes right in hand with being a really good leader.
Mhm.
Um, so really dialing in on kind of the communication aspect, I think, helps with the leadership. Now, when we started the solar business, you're spending $30,000 a month on ads. You get a lead, and it takes you 2 or 3 months to cultivate that lead, sell them, install the solar, and get paid on it. So you're always out quite a bit of money, right? And was always worried that I was going to lose everything.
Mhm.
One thing that I told myself to kind of calm it down was like, okay, even if I lost six figures on this, how much have I learned in the last 12 months,
Mhm.
right? I think I have learned more in those 12 months, like being in the business and creating a multi-million dollar business year one, side by side with my brother. Like that is more valuable to me than, maybe 4 years in business school. And it's probably about the same price, but when you compound it on like, oh, but I got to learn the lesson in 1 year,
Mhm.
it's a lot better. So, I mean, kind of going to worst case scenario, like, man, the self-doubt, is natural, and it'll always come and kind of creep back, and then you're fighting and you're like, but why, like, why am I doubting myself? And even if I failed, what would happen? And if I failed, like, nothing would really happen, right? My life would probably go back to similar as it was before, I started the solar company. And we kind of, our brains usually, they don't even go to the worst case scenario, they go past the worst case scenario. They're like, oh, I'm gonna die if my business fails,
Mhm. Mhm.
so
Yeah,
kind
yeah.
of interesting.
I think you are bringing a lot of golden nuggets with this response. And specifically for students, if you're listening to our episode, focus on internship opportunities. As Bennett mentioned, working with his brother was more powerful for him rather than going through the degrees. And I'm not saying don't complete your degree. Yes, degree is important. Degree gives you a stepping stone to enter a corporate world or any place that you want to go, but go for those internship opportunities that will help you in building your resume. The other thing which I just learned from Bennett is self-doubt is natural. So it's okay if you are having that self-doubt, but bring that thick wall of confidence that you have. You have been building that confidence right from your childhood. May not be in the thing that you are probably doing. Like in Bennett's case, it was a sales thing. He did it for the first time, but still there was a confidence in him that he could do it. Self-doubt was there, but then he said, what if? What will happen? What worse will happen? So keep that in mind, that it will creep in. It is natural, but you need to fight back and you need to think from a perspective, what will happen if I fail? Right? So
Yeah.
that's very,
Can I
very
add
important.
something on the self-doubt? Like,
Yeah.
on you saying it's natural. Like, I'm saying it's natural in the fact, like, it's just a thought that arises out of thin air, right? We don't know we're gonna have self-doubt
Yeah.
until the moment it arises.
Hmm.
But that's how life is. That's how everything is. Like, I don't know that this bag of pumpkin seeds that's behind the screen is going to be green until like it just appears in my consciousness. I have thoughts appearing all day, nonstop. And it's like, oh, that color is red. It means nothing because it comes into my brain and just leaves my brain, right? It's just, and I could see it as just a thought that doesn't really mean anything in my life. A self-doubt thought can be the exact same. It can just be a thought similar as like that car's red. You can just see it arise and see it leave, and not get caught on it. But like the actual like appearance in life and consciousness is the exact same. Like it's just, are we going to attach ourselves to that and be like, oh wait, the self-doubt, it's not just a thought, it's who I am, right? And then you start going down that path, and that's when it gets poisonous. But like the initial thought of I'm not good enough, or what if I don't make the sell, or what if this person doesn't like me, or what if they say no? Like, yes, I think that is very natural in every single human brain. And yes, you can probably train yourself to have a lot less of that. But realizing it's natural and then just, I guess, seeing it for what it is and letting it pass, I think is a strategy that took me a few years to learn, and countless sleepless nights of like, I'm going to die. My body's going to die because I might have to file for bankruptcy or whatever the case was, right?
Yep. And I think just piggybacking on your point, we do get as human beings self-doubt from time to time. When you are getting a self-doubt again, think back of those moments when you had that self-doubt in the past, what you did to overcome it. It's as simple, and I think more about preparedness. There are certain things you cannot be prepared, but there are certain things you can definitely be prepared. So, Bennett, I know you took a very different route when I was reviewing your profile. You're founder of FranchiseKi. Most of the people, they go for starting the traditional business. I want to know what actually inspired you to move from a traditional business to a franchisee model, and how did you build that confidence to do it?
Yeah, great questions on both of them. One, I didn't plan on moving to franchising. I guess I'm an opportunity guy, and I'm getting more into opportunity, intuition, and the flow of life, right? Like it was just an opportunity that fell in my lap, and I jumped on it, right? And the way that the opportunity fell in my lap was I was selling solar. Before I was looking to sell solar, Crumble was just starting to franchise, and they said, hey, well, we need a salesperson. Do you want to sell franchises? So I went and spoke with them. Wasn't a good opportunity for me, but they also pitched me on buying a franchise, and it sounded cool, but I saw a big hole in the market. They said, okay, you could buy a Crumble franchise, but we're sold out in Utah, so you'd have to move out of state and you'd have to run it full time. Like we require you to be owner operated. So in my mind, I'm like, that opportunity doesn't seem good anymore. I have to pay money to buy my own job that forces me to move to make less money than I'm already making right now. But it was still a great brand and they were crushing it. So when Dirty Dough came about, it was a guy that I went to high school. He's like, hey, I need an investor. So I invested with him to take him out of selling cookies from his apartment to an actual storefront in Tempe. And then I bought the company there in Tempe. But it was kind of just, again, it was just in the back of my mind on like, cookies could be good, never been in food, never been in franchising. As far as what gave me the confidence, the month that I purchased it, I'd listened to a podcast. And at the time I had maybe 5 rental properties. I was building up a little, rental portfolio there. And the podcast said true wealth or generational wealth is built in buying real estate and businesses. And it never even occurred to me to buy a business. Then the opportunity presented itself within a few weeks. I'm just like, sure, what the hell? One other thing on the confidence, I had met the Crumble founders, and they also had no food experience or no franchising experience. It's like, okay, well, what are they doing? Like, it kind of comes back to what is the top guy doing that I can't learn? That was my mentality I always had in door-to-door sales. It's like, if we're both knocking doors selling pest control or solar or alarm systems, and I'm making $250,000 in a summer, and that guy's making $1 million in a summer, what is he saying that I can't learn how to say? You know what I mean? So it's kind of especially in sales, it's like, oh, I wasn't born a salesperson. It's it's trying to get away from that. It's like nobody's born anything. Everything is trainable if you focus on that and just go for it. So in my mind, I didn't really think like I don't have business getting into food and franchising. It's just like, oh, I'll figure it out. because before that, every year I was switching industries on purpose. Like I was selling a different product because I wanted to learn from a different set of leadership, different company, and a different product, because I felt like if I could master how to sell $1 million of pest control one summer, the next summer do satellite TV, and the next summer do camera systems, and the next summer do solar, which is all what happened, that built up my leadership ability because I saw more leaders. And then it allowed, I mean, now I have a lot of confidence in sales. I'm like, it doesn't matter if it's any of those 4 industries or if it's cookies, or now I've just picked up a brand, Glow Tanning, and I'm doing franchise sales with them. And we've already hit $1 million in revenue in like 4 months with them, So it's like, I'm very confident, like I could grab an idea, I could formulate the pitch, and I could go out, present it, sell it, and collect checks now. And I think if I would have just stuck with pest control for 6 years, I wouldn't have maybe as much confidence to do that.
So you mentioned that you kept moving industry to learn from the leaders. So was that during the college years or post-college?
Post-college. So what had happened is I didn't really know I wanted to be a doctor. I mean, I like kids a lot. I love kids. So I'm like, pediatrician sounds good. I knew a pediatrician. I loved the dude, right? Other than that, like, I don't even like blood, but it was like pediatrician comes with a good title, and I make $250,000 a year. For whatever reason, that was the number in my head, or maybe it was 200,000. Well, I did pest control for 2 months, and it was good. I think I made like $24,000. Yeah, it was 22 or 21. The next year, I went back out and I made over $250,000 in like 5 months. So then I dropped out of college at that point. And at that point was my commitment to, like, I'm going to, again, I in my mind, I had $100,000 set aside to go pay for med school, right? And I had 4 more years of 4 years of med school, plus 3 years of residency, plus all the studying in between. So when I made that decision, like, I remember that I gave up music for a while. Like, I'm not going to listen to music. Instead, I'm just going to listen to sales books. I'm not recommending somebody does that. I think that's a little bit over the top, but like, that was kind of that commitment. So yeah, dropped out of college to fully focus on not selling door to door, but becoming a professional communicator. And I made that switch just after that first 2 months of sales. I'm like, okay, I'm not a salesperson. I'm a professional communicator. And then that translated to everything. Like Dirty Dough, we grew so quickly, I was also having to raise money. I mean, I raised an average of $200,000 every single month for 2 years, just little checks here and there. And if I didn't raise, then we ain't making payroll, But the reason I was able to do that and get through that, one is the sales ability, right? And the leadership ability. And then 2 is also like getting out of your head of the self-doubt. Not that I didn't have the self-doubt, but I had the self-doubt every single day on the 50,000 doors that I already knocked, right? But I kind of gotten through and knew that it's okay to have self-doubt. It's just not okay to internalize it, right? And think that you are it or whatever, kind of how I explained earlier.
Right.
I think a mixture of all of those really, really helped out.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So don't let that self-doubt become your reality. That's what Bennett is talking about. And it will happen, but you need to move on. So that's a great story. And the one learning for me is just get exposed to different kind of leadership so that you learn from them. Another thing which I learned, Bennett, from you is identify who is the best in the business that you want to be in, and see what are the things they are doing that you are not doing, and then try to cover it up. And you cannot be just exact replica of them, but at least you will be able to be closer to them who are best in that business. So
I mean, and that's most businesses. I mean, like, use Crumble example. We were looking at things that Crumble did, but Crumble ripped all of that off of somebody else. Like the giant cookies, every single thing from another company who also took it from somebody else, because we've been doing cookies forever. And I do think that people get a little bit too in their heads. I'm like, I need something super, super original that nobody's doing. And it's like, no, almost every single business out there is just an improvement upon what was already been done, right? Or taking 2 existing models, like what I believe I did with Dirty Dough, 2 existing models, which is like Crumble, giant gourmet cookies made from scratch at every store, which is high labor and high waste. Or you have the Mrs. Fields, proven for 50 years, but they do a centralized production model. That way you make all the cookies in one spot. economies of scale, ship out the cookies, and then all I have to do now is operate at a 500 square feet, one employee, one oven. And Dirty Dough, again, I didn't do anything new. It was just consumer facing. We look like Crumble. We're going to have these large gourmet, multi-flavored stuffed cookies. On the back end, I copied a model that's been around for 50 years. And then also kind of from a sales perspective, people don't want to buy into something that's too novel, right? Do you want to be the first person to try the new AI update that just came out on Slack and wherever, like I just made up something, but usually you don't want to be the guinea pig, but your brain is comfortable taking two familiar ideas and like, hey, here's two ideas, let's combine them and make them better. They're both proven. And if we combine them, then it should increase the likelihood for success.
There are great inputs. Just moving in from that segment to our listeners. So Bennett, our listeners are primarily coming from the corporate sector, who have been doing their 9-to-5 jobs and struggling hard to move that to the next level. What advice do you have for someone who is having a corporate full-time job and they want to consider a franchisee, but they have no clue? Where would you suggest them to start?
Yeah, really good question. I'm still kind of diving into this. So maybe it's going to sound a little biased and maybe my answer will change in the future, but they're brokers. And I'm not even talking about my brokerage. My brokerage represents a few brands, but there's brokerages that will represent 300 or 400 brands. And if you get a good broker that doesn't just push you, what he wants to sell because he gets good commissions, then that could be a way. And maybe you're pitting two brokers up against each other. But the thing is, the issue is there's 4,000 franchises that you could choose from. Where do you even begin? There's so many good ones, and there's even more bad ones. And then you're like, well, do I go with a big brand like, a Subway? And it's like, well, good luck. All the territories are sold out, right? Or do I go with a new and emerging brand that's unproven? So a lot that kind of goes into it. Here's a way better set of advice, actually. Go to ChatGPT and say, I want to look at I'm interested in a franchising. This is my corporate job. I work at Bank of America. My degree's in finance. I really like numbers and enjoy doing this, but I hate doing this. What franchises could you start recommending me? And then before I'd finish that input, I'd say, what questions, ask me 5 to 10 questions so you could better optimize your answer, right? And then it'll say, are you looking for something part-time? Are you looking for something or full-time? Are you looking for something that has a brick and mortar that you have to sign a lease on? Or do you want something that's more marketing and you could just open up from day one? You don't have to sign a 10-year guarantee on a lease. But if you do that, nobody knows you exist in business. Now you have to be the salesperson. So there's like, if I'm a good salesperson, I could buy into a Painter Brothers franchise because that doesn't require a lease. It only costs a few $100,000 to get into. Their top store does like $8 million. But if I buy into that today in Utah and I own the Utah territory, nobody knows that I own a Painter Brothers franchise unless I go tell them, right? But if I buy a glow tanning franchise, which costs a lot more, like $900,000, and you have to build out a brick and mortar, again, it's a lot more risk in the sense of you're putting out more money, but now you have a brick and mortar and people come to you. And then 70% of that business is recurring revenue, membership based. So that's really good, but you still have to be really good with, customer interaction because you can have hundreds of customers. So there's just so many different factors, and to not be able, just time's sake, to not get into each factor and what to look for, go to ChatGPT. But these are the metrics that I would for sure look for. What is the average cost to open up the franchise? And everything's organized in a franchise disclosure document, and you could find most of them online. So you look at the section 7 or item 7, it'll give you the low and the high. Take the average. So let's call it $300,000. Perfect. Cost me $300,000 to buy this franchise. Then I'm going to go down to section 19. And it's the same on every franchise disclosure document. It's formatted the same way. Then I'm going to go down to section 19, and that's where they have the option to choose financials. A lot of companies don't disclose any financials. They say, we're not making any claims. I would avoid that. I would avoid those companies. Then there's companies that, make some claims. I would look for the companies that disclose profit and they say our average franchisee makes $150,000 profit. That's what I would look for. And then you're comparing the two numbers. If the average franchisee is making 150, it only cost them 300,000 to get in. That's a 2-year payback. That's amazing, right? I would look for a 3-year payback or less. And I would say there's only maybe, 1 in every 10 brands have that. But if you could find those and then also, offset it with what you like to do, what your skill set, and ChatGPT is probably going to be better than any franchise consultant or broker can be in like formulating the best plan for you.
Awesome. That's, I think, great advice for someone who is considering to have an additional income, given a lot of thought, but still could not take the next step. So here it is. Go to ChatGPT, enter your credentials, your interests, part-time, full-time, location, and see what it has to offer, and then review the pointers that Bennett has just shared with us. So thank you, Bennett.
Yeah.
On the similar note, I know as a working professional, we tend to have some misconception about anything we want to do, which is probably we have not done in the past. In your experience, what are some of the myths about owning a franchisee you encounter from people who are new or who want to do this business?
Yeah, from like franchisees in the system, I would say I'm going to start on a negative. Like the myth that franchisees that have already bought a franchise get into sometimes believing is it's done for you. And that couldn't be further from the truth. Like it's your business, right? You could find really good companies that have everything in place, that have every single playbook, every problem that you'll ever run into. They have a resolution to it, but you still have to resolve it, right? You're still the quarterback. So getting into it, especially if you buy one franchise, it's like, oh yeah, you could kind of do this part-time. There's very, very few franchises that actually work. Very, very, very few. I would get into it with like, I'm going to be into this full time, even if it's only for a month. Maybe it's 2 months, maybe it's 6 months, whatever it takes me to learn the business inside and out. Then I could kind of step back and hire a little bit, hire management. Now in the sales process, I get a lot of people coming in, and maybe this is because we've identified some really good brands, but it's kind of like, okay, how do I do marketing? How do I do this? How do I find which tanning beds to buy? And how do I have no idea how to negotiate a lease. And it's like, you don't have to know any of that. All you have to do is answer your phone, right? So it's like, you still have to do something, but you just follow, if you're following the right franchise system, they have it all figured out for you. So there's a lot of people that are like, man, I can't get into, again, a glow tanning business, or whatever it is, something completely outside of their sector because I don't know what I'm doing. And it's like, but that's the whole point of franchising. You don't need to know what you're doing. They've already done it. They've already proven the playbook. You need to follow the playbook. So definitely follow the playbook. It's there. But at the same time, like, don't think that this is going to be maybe like a rental property that could be a little bit more passive. Like it is a business, and it needs to be more hands-on, at least initially, till you could really figure everything out. And that way, when your employees are telling you, problems or whatever, you know what's true and what's not.
Wow. I think great advice. It's not, owning a franchise does not mean it's done for you. You still have to get involved. You still have to, specifically in the initial stages. So thank you for that, information, Bennett. Now, before we move to our rapid fire round, Bennett, how our listeners can get in touch with you, or if they want to work with you, what are the ways for them to reach out to you?
Yeah, I have a website, just Bennett Maxwell, first and last name, Bennett, Maxwell.com. That has links to the brands that we represent, which, I try to do a good job on just doing the top 1%, that 3-year payback, things like that. I do a little different. It's pretty much all video education. So I don't like to talk to salespeople necessarily until I'm ready to, in a sense, right? So that's how I always sell how I want to be sold. Very low pressure. I'm just like, watch videos of the founders, of franchisee testimonials. After you're interested, then we can have a conversation. So anyways, that's kind of my process. You can get pretty far down the line without ever even talking to anybody and get a lot of information. And then, you mentioned my podcast on there. It has links to the podcast, social media, all of that. So yeah, that's the best place.
Awesome. So we will have all the details on our show notes, so you can reach out to his website and listen to his podcast as well. Now let's move to the fun round, rapid fire round. Bennett, we will be asking you 5 questions. Without thinking too much, we would love you to give a response to it. Okay, you ready?
And these, yes, like 1-sentence answers.
Yes. Number 1 coming your way. What's one daily ritual you never skip, no matter how hectic the day is?
Stretching, like for 30 minutes. I do it kind of in a meditation. I'm trying to do 4 count. Oh, that's not one. God, that's not 1 sentence, dude. That's me. Rewind. The ritual, stretching with a 4 count breathing technique to help my body relax.
Awesome. So stretching and breathing techniques. Great. What's one leadership skill you wish someone would have taught you earlier?
Nobody really knows what they're doing. Like imposter syndrome is everywhere. So
okay. Awesome. Great.
I guess that's not a skill, but that would have helped me out.
Okay. Are you a morning person or a night owl?
Both.
Okay.
Both, and then I take naps.
Great. So you're the first one so far in all the episode who's giving this answer uniquely. It's both. Either someone has said just morning or night. So that's a unique answer. Thank you, Bennett, for that. A quotation that you live by.
A quotation that I live by. I'm going with Buddha. Desire is the root of all suffering.
Wow. So desire is the
root of all suffering.
Root of suffering. Wow. Yes, I have heard about it. Yes, thank you. Last one coming your way is, if your career were a Netflix series, Bennett, what would be the title of season 1 be?
Sorry, if my what was a Netflix series?
If your career
of my career, okay.
Netflix series.
House on Fire.
House on Fire. Awesome. Well, that sums up our rapid fire round. Before we let you go, I just want to share my learnings from the episode. And listeners, we would love to hear your learning as well on the comments. So for me, one of the things that I learned was self-doubt is natural. It will creep in. Just make sure that it will not last forever. You just have to focus on making it happen. Don't make that self-doubt be a reality of you. The second one, as Bennett mentioned about, is use your experience with multiple teams, multiple organizations, multiple leaders. So you really get to know what you are good at, what kind of leaders that you want to work with, and what kind of leadership style that you can imbibe based on the learnings from them, rather than just sticking to one industry or one set of leaders. On the same note, opportunity will fall on your lap. Be on a lookout. Prepare yourself so that when it comes in, you are ready for it. Another one was what to expect from a leader's perspective that Bennett was talking about is identify the best in the business that you are in or that you want to be in. Learn from them what they are doing differently, what they are doing good, so that you can implement those aspects. And Bennett beautifully put it, that focus on those ideas that are proven. A lot of people do not want to go to those novel ideas. So look for those ideas, those thoughts that are proven, mix it, put your own flavor and make it happen. So that's what my learnings. I'm sure there were too many golden nuggets that were dropped in throughout the episode, which is about the franchisee options and how Bennett started his journey. I'm very hopeful that you all will love it, and please let us know in your comments. Bennett, before we let you go, any final words of wisdom for our listeners?
Yeah, I'm gonna go back to the quote. Desire is the root of all suffering. You could also replace with desire with the word expectation, and it holds true. And then try to apply that to your business and life. And it's hard, but it's freeing. If you can let go of expectations, you let go of all suffering.
Desire, expectation is the root cause of all the suffering. So, on that note, thank you again, Bennett, to be on our show. We really enjoyed the conversation, and I'm sure our listeners would love it. Thank you again, and have a
Thank
great
you.
rest of the